Opening our show, our guest star of the week, Ronnie McDowell and Older Women. Ronnie, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Ralph. Thank you.
It is nice to see you again. Let me ask you something, Ronnie. I want to stay with Older Women for a moment. Has this increased, this song, which speaks of how nice older women are, has this increased your popularity among older women?
Tremendously. It really has. It, from 25 to 40, that's really the biggest country music listening audience and the biggest record-buying public as far as country goes. So it has really helped my ticket sales, too.
What happens when you go on stage and sing that song?
Well, now, when I first, it's been about a year since this song's been out. Well, about 8 months now, but that's my biggest request song.
Do the girls shout and yell and scream, "You tell them, Ronnie," or something like that?
The ones that are 25 and older do. The young ones, they don't get into it very much. I don't believe that, they say.
All right, let's change the subject to a song called "I Just Cut Myself," a little tune that is tippy-toeing up the charts right now. And this is a clever idea for a song, I might add.
Yeah, I thought it was a great idea. It was written by Chance Jones out of Alabama. And when I first heard the song, I just thought it was a great idea, and I had to listen to it like 2 or 3 times before I really got into the melody and the song. And it's kind of a song that has to grow on you, really.
When I first saw the record on my desk, I thought, this song must be about shaving. But I know that Ronnie McDowell likes love songs. So how could this be about shaving?
Right. But like I say, the first time I saw the title, I thought the same thing. I thought, what an unusual title. I just cut myself on a piece of her broken heart.
I am a history nut. I really enjoy history very much, and I didn't realize what a history nut Ronnie McDowell is. I understand you're opening a new restaurant based on that theme.
Yeah, it's called The Good Old Days, and I didn't realize I was going to get to say anything about it here on the show, but I'm glad. But
where's it going to be?
In Portland, my hometown, and I'm everything that's going to be associated with it is going to be from out of the past, and it's going to have. I've found me an old 1920s flatbed truck that it doesn't run, but I'm just going to have it sitting outside. And as you walk in, there's going to be a glass case all the way to the ceiling. There's going to be somebody inside churning butter. Not every night, but just like on a Sunday, when people are coming after church, and on a Saturday. And there's going to be somebody sitting inside also making ice cream, homemade ice cream, and just little things like that.
What kind of food? What kind of cuisine will you serve?
Well, I'm going to have nothing but fresh vegetables all year round and fresh meat. Nothing frozen. And everything's going to be fresh.
Will these menus be something that you personally have tried or created?
Something, I go everywhere, and I love to eat different kinds of food and just things that I have found all over the country that I'm going to try on the menu.
And will it have your name on the restaurant?
No, it's just The Good Old Days. I was thinking about putting it in Henry McDowell's name, who was my great-grandfather who left Mitchellville up here right outside of Portland in a wagon, and he went to the California Gold Rush in 1849. And it took him 7 months to get out there, and he stayed 7 years. And he came back, and there's a long story about it, but it's really interesting.
Well, I may get back to that gentleman.
All right.
When's your restaurant going to open?
In August, last part of August.
I see. Well, good luck, Ronnie.
I want to invite you up.
Thank you. Ronnie, are you a little flaky today?
Flaky?
Are you tired?
Well, yeah. When I came, I was late getting here.
I know you were.
And I told you that I had done 1,000 different things since 12 o'clock. I've really had a busy day. I'm a little tired. Not too much.
Have you been interviewed already today?
No.
I thought perhaps you...
No, I take that back now. I was supposed to do a newspaper interview at 2, and I had forgot that I had made that interview. And I was supposed to do a television interview at 2, and I forgot that I'd made that. And then I was supposed to be in here at 2, and I was also supposed to practice today with the boys, and I forgot everything except yours. And when I woke up this morning, I remembered that I had all these things on the calendar, so I had to kind of move everything back rather.
Well, now, of all those things, obviously you're now doing this show, but of all those other things, how many have you gotten done?
Well, I made 3. This is the 3rd one.
Have you done the newspaper interview?
No, I had to pass on that one.
I see. You've gotten with the boys.
Right. Got with them this morning.
And what was the other thing?
The TV.
You've done the television interview.
Sure did.
Okay. Are you wore out with questions?
No.
Huh?
No, not at all.
What do people ever ask you anything that you back away from and say no comment or anything like that?
I don't ever say no comment, but they always ask. A lot of people ask me. They still ask me about the Elvis situation, and I kind of am tired of talking about that.
You shy away from that then?
Try to.
What if they bore in on you?
Oh, they do that, but I have my ways of getting out of that. I say, now look, Elvis was a hero of mine, and I guess a little of it rubbed off, but let's let it lay.
Well, now that's
and then that's when they really tear in on you, because they want to really. If they think you're backing away from something, they'll really get into it.
Do they think you're hiding something?
I guess they do. I don't know why.
Does it ever occur to them that you have been trying all these years to establish an identity for Ronnie McDowell?
Apparently not, because I was in Baltimore with Conway about a month ago doing a show up there, and the newspaper read the next day, Ronnie McDowell sheds his Elvis act to sing praises of older women.
But they got Elvis in there.
Oh, they always do that. Still, it's...
Are you ever referred to as an Elvis imitator?
Oh, yeah, I still get that.
See, there are a lot of those guys that really try to imitate Elvis Presley.
Well, that what I just said, Ronnie McDowell sheds his Elvis act, which I never did an Elvis act. Never had any intentions of doing.
This is something you're going to have to live with a long time, though, especially because of the first record.
I've grown to accept it.
A cute record by Conway Twitty and Ronnie McDowell. And it is the old Conway Twitty hit, It's Only Make Believe. It is so synonymous with Conway Twitty that I'm sort of surprised that anybody else would sing it, Ronnie. So would you please tell me how this record developed?
Well, Conway had been wanting me to do the song for 3 or 4 years. Well, ever since I'd known him. For some reason, he never did tell me why. He just said he'd like for me to do the song. So last year when I was doing this album, Good Time Loving Man, that the song is on, I just took a notion. I called him up one afternoon. I said, Conway, if you'll come down and help me sing on the song, I'll record It's Only Make Believe. And then he said, I'll be right down. Give me about an hour. And he came down, and Buddy Killen, he just thought it was a great idea, my producer. And when we got down there, Conway said, now, Ronnie, he said, I don't know how in the world me and you going to do this song. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, that's going to sound a little funny. Me and you singing It's Only Make Believe together. He said, how are we going to do this? So I thought about it, and he was right. 2 guys singing It's Only Make Believe. But we set it up with a little talking thing where we came into it right prior to it, and me and him and Buddy sat down and wrote it out, and it came out good.
Does Conway only do the talk portion, or does he sing with you as you sing the song?
No, he sings all the way through it.
Okay. Actually, it starts out with a little argument.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Over the girl.
You and Conway are arguing about this girl. And then suddenly, before I know it, you have just whipped into the song.
Well, we had a good time. It took us about 6 hours, but we had a great time.
Why would it take 6 hours to do? That song is only 3 minutes and 49 seconds.
Well, it took, the time was spent on the talking part, getting that synchronized. It was really hard to do. But now, since we've worked it up with the band and been doing it for about a year now, it doesn't seem like it was very hard, or why it should have been hard.
Have you ever done it with Conway in a live performance?
I've worked with him since January the 15th. And we never did do that song together, but the reason that we can't is very understandable, because when he comes out, lights are circling every which way, and he starts out, people see us everywhere, and then when he goes off, he does the same thing.
It is his big signature song.
Right. But now I will say, one night up in Louisville, Kentucky, I was standing right beside him. He always stands behind stage. And he's got a live microphone in his hand.
Just before he comes on?
Just before he comes on. And I was standing right beside him, and he said, People see us everywhere. And he stuck the microphone right up in my face. Didn't know what to do, so I went ahead and sang part of it.
Did you sing the next line?
Yeah, so I don't think the people even knew the difference.
I'm visiting with Ronnie McDowell. Ronnie, I thought of something that we're going to play. I Just Cut Myself.
Okay.
Time to play the plug tune, the current hit.
All right.
By the way, if this song, and apparently it's going to hit, which in your string of hits, how many will this be?
Well, this will be my fourth record if it goes top 10. Fourth top 10 record.
Okay. You only call them hits if they go top 10?
Yeah, because the people seem to remember a top 10 record, but they don't. Number 11, they seem to forget them.
Okay, I didn't know that. Let's name them.
Starting with Wandering Eyes.
Oh, well, we can start. No, I want to start all the way back.
Oh, okay. Well, my first top 10 record was The King Is Gone.
Okay, that went to number 1, I assume.
Number 9.
It didn't go to number 1.
Sold 2.5 million records, went to number 9.
That was the tribute to Elvis.
Right.
Okay, after that.
I Love You, I Love You, I Love You went to number 4.
Okay.
And the next song I had was a Ben Peters song called Here Comes the Reason I Live.
Right.
And that was number 11.
Oh, that doesn't count.
No. And then the next record that I had that got in the top 5 was Wandering Eyes.
Okay.
And Older Women.
Okay.
And Watching Girls Go By.
So this will be you're Watching Girls Go make it to the top 10?
Number 4.
Okay, that was 5.
Mm-hmm.
And then?
This one.
Okay, this would be 6 top 10 records.
Right.
In a growing career.
I hope so. I don't want to go nowhere else but up.
Okay. Hey, I thought of what I was trying to think of earlier.
All right.
I was in a New York hotel. I was getting ready to go out, and the television set was on, and it was a Polynesian drama. And this guy had lost his girlfriend. And your song reminded me of this. And he had this line that has stayed with me all these years. My heart has grown teeth, and it's eaten my insides out. Not a funny line?
That is. That's good.
Earlier, I was talking to Ronnie McDowell about history. We share an interest in history, and you mentioned some old gentleman who was your great-great-grandfather?
No, my great-grandfather.
Your great-grandfather.
He was born in 1825, and I've traced my family back to 1730, and they left Ulster, Scotland, on a little ship called the Queen and Mary, and there were
not the Queen Mary.
No. It was just for some reason called the Queen and Mary.
Okay.
And there were 11 McDowells on there, and only 3 survived the trip. And it was a guy by the name of Ephraim, but back then I think they called it Ephraim, but it was Ephraim McDowell. And he was the one, and they landed finally in Lexington, Virginia, and that's where they all settled, and then they went out to Kentucky and North Carolina. And I found out there was a show on TV not too long ago called The Kentucky Ride of Ephraim McDowell, and he's the first pioneer surgeon in history to operate without anesthesia, and that happened in 1830. And this lady came up to him from Crossville, Tennessee, and she thought everybody was telling her that she was pregnant, which her stomach was really enlarged like she was pregnant. And she went up to see Mr. Ephraim McDowell up in Danville, Kentucky, and I went up there to his museum not too long ago. But she went up there, and he told her to come back in about a month and that he would operate on her. He told her that she had a tumor.
Mm-hmm.
So she went back in a month, and they cut her open without anesthesia. The first time this had ever been done.
I bet he was a bunch of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that really, that really sounds difficult.
Yeah, but they took a 25-pound tumor out of her. And
now, what year are we into?
1830.
Dr. Ephraim McDowell.
Mm-hmm.
How would he have been related to you?
He's my 4th great uncle. See, Ephraim McDowell, who came over and settled here, one of the 3 that survived, that was his grandfather.
Okay, now who was the McDowell that finally moved in around Middle Tennessee?
That was John McDowell, and he's buried up in the Massey Cemetery right above Franklin, Kentucky. And we have found his grave. And then he had
Now wait a minute, Ronnie. Hold it. I haven't got time to go through another 100 years. I'll do some more of this later.
All right.
We are visiting with Ronnie McDowell. And Ronnie, I believe you ran into a little problem with the airport security in Washington, D.C. recently. In fact, as you made most of the papers.
Yeah, I got up one morning. We'd just done a show, and I threw my pistol, my Derringer, with 2 shells in my bag, a carry-on bag. And it was me, my bass player, my guitar player, and I was in front, and I went through the security check with my bag, and I forgot it was in there, just totally forgot it. And she got the bag, and she said, whose bag is this?
Oh, yeah, I guess I see. You gave it to them, and they were going to put
it went through the security check, and it went through that X-ray thing.
Right.
And then she got it, and she said, whose bag is this? And I still, I wasn't thinking anything about the gun being in there, and I was just cutting up, and I said, it's his. And I was pointing to my bass player, and he looked at me, and his eyes got this big because he remembered me throwing the gun in there, and I still did not. And she started opening it up, and when she started opening it up, I remembered that I had that gun in there, and I said, you're not going to believe this. I said, but I've got a gun in there. And as soon as I said that, here come these guards just all around me, and they said, are you an officer's son? And I thought, and I forgot that I was, a sheriff of Sumner County, and I had my badge and everything. And I said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I am.
You mean you are a deputy sheriff in Sumner County, Tennessee?
Right. So I showed him that, and he said, well, this thing's out. Been out of date for 2 weeks.
You mean your
my commission?
Okay.
It was been out for 2 weeks, and I didn't know that. So he was like one of these guys in the Army, and he said, well, I guess we're going to have to take you in, don't you? And I said, I said, well, I've got a show to do in about 3 or 4 hours in Greenville. And he said, well, that's the way the old cookie crumbles, ain't it?
So were you arrested?
Oh, yeah, they took me down and arrested me and went through all that. And
they fingerprint you?
Yeah.
Take your mug shot?
Oh, yeah, and he said, let me see your driver's license. And I said, you ain't going to believe this. I said, but I got a ticket last night, and I said, they took my driver's license. And he said, boy, you better get your act together. But anyway,
how did you get loose?
They let me go. They called the sheriff down here, but it was a federal offense.
Yeah, they don't laugh about that.
And it was in Washington. And I had 2 shells in the chamber, and I guess they thought I had one for each pilot. But they, fined me and did all that. Then I had to go to court, and I missed the court date because of a friend of mine that said he'd get me out of it. Well, he didn't get me out of it, so about a month ago, the FBI showed up on my front door, and I was out of town, and they handed me this thing, told me to be in federal court here in Nashville. So I had to go and sit before the judge, but he fined me $300 and let me go. And he told me if he was me that he'd leave the gun at home now.